got you covered with tools, gadgets, and must-haves for every DIYer in your life. And tackle winter head-on with their powerful Eco snowblowers, perfect for clearing the way this season. Plus, spruce up your home for the holidays with a fresh coat of Benjamin Moore paint, or get ready for the new year with a stunning remodel. Enjoy the holidays this year with Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, with locations in Goodland and Colby.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm, with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed-on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. For example, a 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali with no hail up to $7,000 off when you're a loyal Buick or GMC owner, now just over $68K. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000. $58K. The sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Settle in and stay connected with Nextech Wireless and a device on us. Choose from the newest iPhone 16, the Samsung Galaxy S24, or a new tablet on us. Get an extra $100 with your device trade-in, no matter the condition. Nextech Wireless, home on the range.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and FNB Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Colty's
Sorry. Come on, Lord, you gonna work for me here or not? BatemanFuneral.com, you can find lots of information and resources to help ease the burden, including pre-need arrangements, monuments, and obituaries. You can even express your condolences by ordering flowers. Make a difficult time easier and celebrate a life well lived with Bateman Funeral Home in Goodland and BatemanFuneral.com.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Blitz. Sorry, everybody. Difficulties here this morning on technical-wise, to be completely honest with you. That's just the complete and honest truth. No other way to put it. So apologize for a horrifically started show here on this Monday morning, but apparently Monday morning means, as most people know, technology does not want to work. And if people understood what we're trying to do during this time of transition from, different studios, I think you'd be like, boy, they're really trying to force a square peg in a round hole. But that's the way, unfortunately, this day's going. We had everything running. I was running just fine. Then I hit another button, and all of a sudden we had a power down, and we had big issues. And so I apologize to everybody out there listening, whether it's on Goodland's Rock 1025 or even on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. I apologize. Really, really rough start to this show. Hopefully, well, actually, it honestly probably can't get a whole lot worse, so it's all up from here. But good morning. Once again, I am Ross, broadcasting from my basement. We have Max broadcasting from, I'm guessing, his childhood bedroom would be my guess.
Yep.
Kansas City, as Max will be out in the second half of the week. And for our first segment of the day, we are going to be joined by Nick Athen, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, who he might still be there. He might not. He might have just said, these guys are completely crazy. They can't figure anything out, and so forget about it. Nick asked if he could come on early, and apparently we weren't prepared for that, Nick, even though I tried to be as best I possibly could.
That's all good. Hey, been there, done that so many times, so it's all, I get it. It's
there's literally nothing I could have done differently, I swear. Everything I done, just all of a sudden, just a complete and utter technological failure. But Nick Athen joins us.
It's like being in space. Nobody can hear you scream.
That's a valid point. Yep. Once again, Nick said that's the reason why we don't work for SpaceX. Yes,
that's
why
right.
We don't work for
that's
SpaceX.
Right.
So perfectly fine. Good morning, Nick. How are we feeling today? Got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that was just another notch in the unbelievable mystery known as the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, honestly, okay. This was a loss. They should have lost. My whole family was here watching the game yesterday, and they're going to lose. And my wife says it's not over. And so, they blocked the punt, they blocked the kick, and the Chiefs are 9-0, and the Chiefs are running around like they won the Super Bowl. And I put an article up on ChiefsBlitz.com this morning. Can this team roll the table? Can they go undefeated? And they've just had some improbable wins. You go back to the Ravens and, the 2 inches of the toes and the Bengals pass interference penalty. And then yesterday, the Chiefs threw themselves under the bus so many times in that game yesterday against the Broncos. But my goodness, I don't know what else to say. This team's either the luckiest or the best or the greatest team in NFL history. I don't know what it is, but they just don't want to lose a football game. And it doesn't matter how bad they play during it or how good they play. It just, nothing phases them. And, the block punt by Leo Chanel, that was something they noticed on film for 4 straight games of where the tight end on the end collapsed and got bowled over. And so they said, okay, we're just going to overload that side. And 3 guys could have blocked that kick.
Nick, going back to that game, Wanya Morris goes out. Our rookie Kingsley comes in. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I've ever seen a worse left tackle play in an NFL game. I just want to know your thoughts about, his 2, he's really had 2 chances so far this year.
Sure.
I don't know what the Chiefs saw to have him be the week 1 starter because I'm not seeing it.
Okay, well, let me backtrack. At BYU, he was a mauler, and he played against teams that, excuse me, were kind of pro-style offense, and I think what happened to him was He was really good in preseason. I thought he definitely made some gains. Where he's always struggled is between the tackle and the guard. And when Thuney wasn't playing in the preseason, I kind of thought once he got back, he'd be okay. But now he's just not setting his feet, and he's too deep. And you don't push the pass rusher into the quarterback. You push him away from the quarterback. And I don't think that he's a bad offensive lineman. And I think, he's the starter, and then they pull him out and they throw him into, arguably that's the best defense the Chiefs played against all season. And in my view, that's not even particularly close. Their game plan was perfect. They had the Chiefs in knots for most of the game. And when Patrick Mahomes had time to throw the ball, he didn't always make the best decisions. So, give them credit. But Sula Mateo, he needs more time. He's just not ready. I think the Chiefs will bring in a couple of veteran tackles today and tomorrow as a workout, just to kind of see. Maybe they shore things up a little bit. But they're going to have to do something, I think. Now, Wanye, to his credit, Andy Reid went to him and said, dude, I need you on this last series. And he got up off the injured mat and he balled out. He played really well the last series. So, this is going to be a weakness all year. They thought they solved it, and Kingsley just hasn't quite taken that next step yet.
Nick Athen joining us here on our first segment of the Morning Blitz. Nick has an appointment to make a little bit later on today, so he will be joining us here in this
date with the dentist.
Oh gosh, I hate the dentist. Oh my gosh, one of the worst places to go.
Yes.
But anyway, Nick joins us here. We'll get to weekend winners and losers coming up a little bit later on in this Monday morning edition of the Morning Blitz. Boy, I don't know. I predicted before this game, you can even ask Max, I said, I think this game is going to be close. I'm not going to be shocked if Denver wins it, just for whatever reason. It just doesn't matter. They almost did pull it out. Why did Denver's offense have the success it did against the Chiefs defense?
Well, I think some people just didn't play well. I mean, Chris Jones didn't get a whole lot of penetration. Trent McDuffie looked like he just looked outclassed. I don't know if he just wasn't. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with him, but he was beaten routinely. But then again, I mean, after the second touchdown, technically the Broncos didn't score another point the rest of the game in the second quarter, and in the second half, up until that last drive, they were 3 and out 3 times. So, I think defensively they kind of figured some things out, and had the offense played better, then so much pressure wouldn't have been on the defense. But to me, the defensive side of the ball just seemed there was a lack of aggression. And if you don't put pressure on Bo Nix, he'll kill you. I mean, he's seasoned. He's not like one of these college quarterbacks that plays 12 games and all of a sudden is a first-round pick. He's got, 50-some-odd starts, 60-some-odd starts in college. And, he's older than Nick Bolton is, and he's a rookie. So I think they didn't respect him enough. And I don't think Steve Spagnuolo was aggressive as he needed to be, because when he put the screws to him in the pass rush situation and they sent linebackers and corners, he struggled. And they stopped doing that on that last drive, which was a little disappointing.
Once again, Nick Athen is joining us here on the morning on this Monday morning. You brought up a great point, Nick, right off the bat. You're talking like, I don't know if it's just the luckiest team in the world or what. I mean, how much does it just come down to the fact that they know how to win, and it doesn't matter how it looks or how it is done. They just know how to win, which they've reached that echelon, that I think a lot of teams in all sports want to get to, where they, no matter what situation they're in, they feel like they have a chance to win it, and they find a way to win it.
I think the hard part is for the fans. I think the fans still view this team as the Tyreek Hill version, and, offensively speaking, and it's just not, and it's never going to be that again, no matter how they orchestrate the roster, whether, Hollywood Brown comes back, Juju's going to be back probably this week. No matter how they construct things offensively, this is a team that plays smash mouth football, has a great defense. They're playing Marty Ball better than Marty Ball played Marty Ball. And I think this is just the evolution of this offense, because defenses are good. I mean, the Chiefs have faced, really good defenses this entire year. I mean, all game, maybe with the exception of the Raiders, these are teams that have players that have given the Chiefs fits in all of these games. And so I think you just have to look at it, from, I don't think it's luck. I think it's what you say. I mean, they just know how to win. They don't care where they play. They don't care what time of the play. They don't care the day of the week. They don't care who the opponent is. They know if they don't beat themselves, they're going to win. And they always know they're going to find out a way to win because this team is it's designed and built that way. And I love the maturity of the roster. These are guys who are seasoned. They've had rookies. You got a couple of, 2-year back-to-back Super Bowls. You've got young guys who've got Super Bowls. They know what's expected of them. Everybody understands their role. And you look on, some of these other teams in the NFL, even in Denver, they kind of know their roles, but they don't know how to win these games yet. They're 5-5, and everybody's touting them as, this great football team. They're 0-2 against the two best teams they faced on their schedule. The Chiefs are 9-0, and they beat everybody. And so I think you can't look at this team the way you used to. You just have to say, okay, on Sunday, the Chiefs are going to win. And that's it. And that's the mentality. And we should just enjoy it because it isn't going to be flair and it's going to be a lot of style. It's going to be a lot of grunt guys, a lot of glue guys on the roster who make plays like Leo Chanel did. And you just have to love it and enjoy it and appreciate it because this is as old school football as this new generation is ever going to see again. They play like the 70s Chiefs. They play like Marty Ball. They don't have that Dick Vermeil flair anymore. This is just a good football team that just refuses to lose.
I think it's a big 180 that a lot of fans are still having trouble adjusting to after what everyone saw in 2018, 2019, even 2020. But my question is, in the last two games, we haven't seen a lot of Xavier Worthy production. How concerned are you about his performances?
Yeah, right now the game's just too big for him. And Patrick is not helping him.
No.
Patrick, listen, Worthy was open about 5 times yesterday for a touchdown. The ill-advised pass on 2nd and goal, I think, from the 9. He was wide open, not once, but twice, and he missed him both times. The long pass, he leads him to the sidelines. So I think he's got a lack of confidence. I mean, they didn't do any reverses with him. They didn't do any screens with him yesterday. After the struggles he had the week before against the Saints, they kind of felt, well, let's just dial it back. They didn't even use McCole Hardman. And I think part of that was they want to remain vanilla because I think the playbook's going to be expanded Sunday when they go to Buffalo. I guarantee you that. They're going to be doing things that the Bills have not seen them do this year. But for me with Worthy, the game's a little too big for him right now. I think getting Juju back, I think watching Hopkins practice and the way he does things. I know he and Hopkins have spent a lot of time together, just kind of like how Hollywood did as well. So I think he's going to be okay. They've got 6, 7, 8 games to kind of get him ready for the postseason, figure out how they're going to use him. But, I'm not concerned that he's a bust or I'm not concerned that he's not going to be successful. It's just the game is just moving at a speed in which he just hasn't found any rhythm yet.
Nick, I want to ask you another question about the Broncos. How concerned are you about them as a franchise after this last game and where they are trending at this point in time in year 2 Sean Payton?
Well, I don't like Sean Payton very much, and I've made that secret, public. However, I have to give him props. His game plan, his patience with Bo Nix, the decisions that he's made on the roster, even though a lot of people in Denver question it. You can't question this team was fired up, ready to play. They were focused. They believed they could win. They nearly did. And I think if you look at the future right now of the AFC West, outside of the Raiders, who continue to implode, and they're going to make a coaching change. I think Deion Sanders is going to be the coach of the Raiders. But I think you look at the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, you look at Sean Payton and the Broncos. This division next year is going to be really good again. And I like that. I don't think you should go unchallenged in your division. I don't think that gets you ready for the postseason. And at some point, the Chiefs aren't going to have the success they've had, in the AFC West. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I think the Broncos have a shot at the number 7 seed in the playoffs. They would be a dangerous team in the postseason just because they have the attitude that they can beat anybody. And even though they're not beating everybody, at least Sean Payton seems to have figured out, let my defensive coordinator run the show. I'm going to run the offense. I'm not going to get involved in that side of the ball. Now they probably need a new special teams coach because, this isn't the first time they've struggled in special teams this season. So to answer your question, Ross, yeah, I'm more concerned. I had the Broncos pegged as the number 1 overall pick for 2025. So that's not going to happen.
Nick, I got one more question for you. This is something I've kind of debated in my mind. Who would you rather the Chiefs play in the playoffs if they had to play a 7 seed? The Bengals or the Broncos?
I don't want to play the Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are going to make this postseason. I mean, the Bengals go to the Chargers, I think, Sunday night. If the Bengals win that game, I'd say they're gonna have a chance. I mean, as a 7 seed, they'd have to play the 2 seed, which means they'd have to probably go to Buffalo or Baltimore. That's not going to be easy for them. I think Buffalo will be a lot easier to win than Baltimore will be. But again, who's to say, are they going to be that team? But I don't want to, because if the Chiefs play the Broncos, they play them the final game of the year. And that could be to run the table for the perfect game. And I don't think Andy would play the starters. I don't think he wants history that bad. They want the three-peat. But, I don't want to face Denver because they're more of the unknown versus what you have in the Bengals, in my personal opinion. I mean, and Joe Burrow, to his credit, is just playing some of the best football of his career. And unfortunately, he's got a terrible defense. And for Lou Anarumo, that's just absolutely mind-boggling that their defense is that bad. But the Broncos' defense is not one that I want to face in the postseason again.
Once again, Nick Athen joining us here in our first segment on a Monday morning. The Bills are up next. They come in with a 7-2 record. Thoughts on this game just early on?
This is the Bills Super Bowl. I mean, this is the game that's going to define the rest of their season, as it was last year when they went into Kansas City and, Kadarius Toney, mistake or not, they still won that football game. Now, on the flip side, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, have never lost to the Bills in Buffalo. And however, the Bills seem to have the Chiefs at home during the regular season. So, this is their Super Bowl. I mean, even Sean McDermott was saying, well, we're going to approach this game the same way after they beat the Colts yesterday. BS. They know what's at stake here. Should the Chiefs lose, then the Bills would only be 1 game behind the potential of the number 1 seed. However, the Bills face the toughest part of their schedule. They've got the Chiefs. I believe they have the Rams, 49ers, and I can't remember the 4th team, all in a row. That makes it's going to be very difficult for them to win, 3 out of the next 4. So I think this is a bigger game for them. I think the Chiefs are going to come in this game with a massive chip on their shoulder. They know they haven't played well offensively. I thought they were getting it together until yesterday. Patrick Mahomes just was beat up. That dad bod took a beating yesterday, and he was off. And but it was the Broncos, but he'll be up for the Bills. He loves playing on the road. He loves being the spoiler. The Bills are going to have to play a perfect game, in my opinion, to defeat the Chiefs, because I think, again, you're going to see a lot of offensive formations that Andy Reid has not designed before, has not shown. They probably were working on part of this game plan last week because they probably all overlooked Denver just a little bit. They won't make that mistake, anymore down the stretch. So I think the Chiefs have a really good chance of winning this game. But on the flip side, Ross, I would not be shocked if they lost.
Final one for you from me. 5 games yesterday decided by a field goal or less.
Yes.
Which one was the most take away the Chiefs Broncos? Which one
was
the most entertaining?
I'd have to say the Lions. That was just remarkable. Here's a bricklayer, a year ago, he's laying bricks and he squeezes one on the right side of the upright, and then he comes back and squeezes one on the left. It's a great story. This is what I love about the NFL. anybody from anywhere can come in and make plays. But the Lions game yesterday, I mean, I had turned that game off at halftime. I thought, I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to go watch Yellowstone or something like that. And then all of a sudden, my phone blows up and it's a 3-point game, and I turn it back on and I'm just like, this is crazy. And so then I watched the highlights and I'm thinking, man, I was wrong about the Texans. I mean, I knew they would struggle, to live up to the expectations and the hype. But man, they're just not a good football team. And the Lions, I mean, 5 interceptions.
I know, and still won.
5. And Goff just says, I don't care. And their head coach says, I don't care. We're just going to go find a way to win. And that's what they're. Listen, the Chiefs and the Lions are on a collision course. That would be the best Super Bowl. I think that would be the best Super Bowl in the last 15 or 20 years, in my opinion. If those two teams, the way they play and the way they never give up, and they have the exact same mindset, they have the exact same attitude, they have significant injuries, both teams do, and they just looked terrible. And then the Texans gave the game away, and they took advantage of it. I mean, Goff was still throwing interceptions in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's just crazy. But that field goal to me was impressive. It really was.
Yeah, I love how they said if they had another layer of paint, it might have not made it.
That was a pretty good line.
Scraped on by. Nick Athen of ChiefsBlitz.com. Nick, as always, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll catch you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you once again. Great stuff there from Nick Athen. Okay, we'll get to a break. When we come back, we will try to continue this show, hopefully without any more bumps in the road. We'll see. But after our commercial break, we'll come back with weekend winners and losers. That's next here on a Monday morning on the Morning Blitz.
No promises.
The markets with the Energy Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Hunt for the Energy Trade Group. Today is Monday, November 11th. For corn.
We do know where the damn sun's going to be and our own safety. Well, we know where the sun's going to be when we decide to flip the corn or not. So we do know where the damn sun's going to be.
Crude oil down.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
Had a whole bunch of highlights cut up from the weekend because there were so many great ones. But the last time I ran the highlights, that's what caused the technical difficulties for whatever reason here on the show. So we're just going to have to scrap that. You know, a nice, good 20 minutes of work just completely thrown out the door. But what do you say? What do you know?
You hate to see it. You really do, Ross.
Anyway, Ross Volkmer, Max Gershon with you here on a Monday morning edition of the Morning Blitz. We apologize for a very rocky beginning to the show. Once again, for those who don't know or are tuning in for the first time in a while, we are in a transitional phase. The Goodland Studios, we are broadcasting out of them. At least the signal is coming out of there, but we do not have studios assembled yet. So we're doing it all mobily from our homes. Max is on his way to, was it Florida or California later this week?
I'll be in California.
Going to Cali here later this week. So he's actually in his hometown of KC, and I am of course, here in my basement where I remote broadcast from every now and then, not very often, only when when the weather's bad or, like I said, we have a situation like this. So we'll see. Hopefully after this week, at the very latest, we'll be back we'll be in the new studios broadcasting. We'll have hopefully less technical difficulties. Sometimes we're just trying to do a little bit too, at least Ross is trying to do a little bit too much, thinking he can make the show sound just like it does. And most of the time I can. If technology will allow me, but it did not here today. Unfortunately, I do not have my audio for weekend winners and losers, but we are going to dive right in with our weekend winners and losers, starting with our weekend winners. Max Gershon, what do you have here on a Monday?
Well, this might be a surprise to you, Ross, and I'm not going to go too far into it because we kind of just talked about it, but the Kansas City Chiefs are a weekend winner because that seems to be all they do. They win football games, so they're a weekend winner. So let's just get that out of the way. And then my second weekend winner is Kansas Athletics. KU men's basketball defeating UNC. KU football defeating number 17 Iowa State. And then their women's soccer team with an upset against TCU in the Big 12, I believe, tournament, winning 1-0. So yeah, KU Athletics with a heck of a weekend all around. And then my final weekend winner is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who continue to be undefeated in the NBA. Now sit at 11-0 on top of the Eastern Conference.
Are they the only team left in the NBA that's unbeaten?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I'm on a high right now, Ross. I tell you what.
The funny thing is that I said my first weekend winner was going to be Max Gershon. That's who my weekend winner was going to be, was Max Gershon, because once again, the Chiefs blocked the field goal to get the win. KU Hoops beats UNC despite blowing a 20-point lead at one point in time in the first half, but they come back and win behind 21 points from Zeke Mayo, another 20 from Hunter Dickinson. And then KU football, gets a win over a ranked Iowa State team on Saturday in a really impressive-looking game. Devin Neal goes on and sets records for rushing yards and total touchdowns in a Jayhawk uniform. So my winner of the weekend had to be Max Gershon, because it had to be about as perfect a weekend as it got to be. And he got to be home in KC. He probably had some Kansas City barbecue on top of that. So, I don't know if it really got any better than for Max Gershon on weekend winners, to be honest with you.
It really didn't. I got to be honest. It was great weekend watching. You know what, KU, talking about KU basketball, in the first half of that game, boy, that team looked good, and they just kind of the shots weren't going in. They were fouling. I mean, UNC had like 31 free throws in the second half. It was insane. But if we could see more of that first half KU team, boy, that's a fun team to watch. And then football wise, that was I didn't watch the first half. I was golfing, but I came home and watched the end of it. I was waiting for the collapse to happen. I was sitting there like, well, here comes the collapse. And there was a couple different spots where I thought it was going to begin, but it never happened, Ross. So you know what? What a successful weekend for your boy.
It was a really good weekend for you. One more quick thing here on that Kansas football game with kind of a semi-local tie to it. So I was watching the game, and there was a play in the second half where Goodland's own Leighton Cure, backup tight end, was in the game, and they threw a pass to him. It was going to be his first catch. He didn't look it all the way in. It was going to be a big gain, too. I thought it might have gone for a touchdown. I It looked God like he was like a skinny post or something. Now I was like, oh, there he is. Dropped her.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
no. Love you, Leighton.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
buddy. But boy, that was tough. That was tough because I thought he had it. I thought that was going to be his first Division I catch right there, and unfortunately didn't look her all the way in and dropped her. But yeah, I say overall it was if you're a Kansas fan, if you're like Max Gershon, yeah, it was a great weekend for you. No doubt about it. A great weekend for you. Devin Neal, by the way, in that game on Saturday, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Daniels carried it 12 times for 68 with the score. He only threw it 24 times, completing 12 for 295, 2 touchdowns. Look, folks, that's the recipe. That should have been the recipe all season long for Kansas. Should have been that all year. Load up Devin Neal, run him and Daniel Highshaw, and Jalen Daniels can mix in there as well. And then let Daniels go out there and throw the ball and not have turnovers. That's the key to getting wins. If they could have done that more, they're at least staring at a bowl game for sure. And who knows, maybe they're sniffing near the top of this Big 12. But yeah, they're playing some good football, and they got a great test coming up next week. I mean, Kansas, Colorado. Whoa, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one.
But that's what hurts more almost. It's like, oh, they could have done this all year. Like there it is.
Oh,
there it is. Where was it? Like, why couldn't we figure this out earlier? Because it's not even like we were playing hard teams at the beginning, really. It's this season's gonna stick around until we have another good one. So yeah.
Well. Anyway, I had another couple quick weekend winners here. High school football playoff teams that are still alive. Shout out to Golden Plains, Weskin, and Hoxie. They still remain alive. And shout out to all three of those teams because they played in a monsoon.
Yeah.
Pretty much what they played in. I don't know if anybody saw the pictures or the videos of some of these games, but like if you go back and just look at the pictures of the kids holding, the plaques, saying, hey, we won this round and stuff, they're drenched and wet, they're cold. And I mean, it's unbelievable the weather they played in on Friday where it just rained all day and then it rained through the game, sometimes really hard, sometimes not. Just look at some of the pictures around the state on Friday night and look at some of the environments that these kids played in. It's crazy. And for those teams to win even made it more impressive. I mean, Hoxie shut out Oxford. It was over at halftime, 54-0. Braden Sheets and Duncan Bell each ran for 3 touchdowns apiece in the win. Hoxie, by the way, a humongous game coming up here on Friday as they go to Leota to take on Wichita County. That will be a massive game. If there's a team that has kind of had Hoxie's number over the last few years, it has been Wichita County. Can they get over Wichita County and advance to the next round? That'll be a huge game coming up here on Friday. Weskin, they rolled Moscow 52-6. Coyotes will host Ingalls in the next round, who shut out Cheylin 48-0, ending the Cougars season at 4-5. But Weskin has advanced on, and Golden Plains also with the win. They shut out Pawnee Heights 46-0. Bulldogs will play host to a very good South Barber team in the next round. So 3 teams still alive. I mentioned Cheylin's season is over. Rollins County season came to an end at 24-6. They lost to South Central. They ending their season at 7-3, and Wallace County was blanked on Saturday at Victoria, losing 54-0. That ends the Wildcat season at 5-4. Some other regional outside the area teams. You had Norton. They lost at Southeast of Saline at Kansas Wesleyan 34-7. Holcomb with a little bit of an upset win at Rock Creek. Had a long road trip, went all the way to St. George Rock Creek, won 21-14. Scott City in the rain and the wind. The greatest athlete in Western Kansas right now, all-around athlete, Jackson Rumford with a field goal at the buzzer to beat Heston 9-7. That was nuts. Hill City bested Sublette 50-22, and Wichita County, as I mentioned earlier, they advanced to take on Hawks. They beat South Gray 58-0. So huge game next Friday, coming up here between Hoxie and Wichita County. That's going to be absolutely massive. So salute once again to Golden Plains, Weskin, and Hoxie football teams. They're still alive in the high school football season, overcoming the weather and still getting wins.
I've got one more winner now that I'm throwing it out there. Is my high school out here in Kansas City, Blue Valley North, the Mustangs, who had lost, looking at it, I believe 6 straight games heading to regionals, upset DeSoto, upset Leavenworth, and are now heading to state to face St. James Academy. So shout out the Mustangs. Believe it or not, there's still some guys I played high school baseball with that are on that football team. So shout out to them. And
you're a baby. So
well,
you're a baby.
I'm not sure there's anyone you went to high school with, Ross, that is still on the football team. That's all I'm
There's
saying.
not anybody I went to high school with this playing football, period. So it doesn't matter if it's even professionally. Trust me, it's not.
But yeah, so another weekend winner and another Max Gershon weekend winner is
And what was the best
the
weekend?
Blue Valley
winner
North
was Max
Mustangs. There you
Gershon.
go. There you go.
One more quick winner for me before we get to losers. Big Ten football, big winner of the weekend. When the AP poll came out yesterday, 4 of the top 5 teams in the AP poll at this point in time: Ohio State, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana. 4 of the top 5 teams in the country reigning from the Big Ten, with Texas being the only team that is not. Because once again, the SEC has kind of eaten itself alive a little bit here, kind of like the Big 12 has done. The Big Ten is yet to do that. We'll see if that should change here in the coming weeks. But as we sit here right now, the Big Ten with 4 of the top 5 teams in the nation. There you go, weekend winners here in the morning. I think there's I know I've had a lot of Broncos fans kind of chime in here talking about how they are honestly kind of winners too, are the Broncos, with how well they played.
Absolutely.
The loss. That was very, very good. I know we had listener Michael chime in on the FNB Bank text line at 785-899-2222. Goes, hats off to the Chiefs. We had that dub. This loss cuts the bone and hurts just as bad as that Flacco pass to Jacoby Jones in Denver. But we'll see you last game of the season at Mile High, Chiefs fans. Go Broncos. That's what Michael says. So he's hurting a little bit, but honestly, I think you have to be pretty proud at the same time.
Yes, definitely. They were very Bo Nix's post game was very I earned a lot of respect for Bo, and because I wasn't a big believer in him, and I didn't think Sean Payton was gonna turn around what this Broncos team is, especially after last year, and they have. So I'm not a big Broncos guy, but credit to the Broncos because they have some good things going their way. So, but now to the losers.
Yep, on to the losers.
All right, on to the losers. I've got an interesting one on a national scale. It's going to be New York and Florida football teams. So let's start with New York. The Jets and the Giants, both with disastrous loss. I feel like we talk about how the Jets are terrible every week. So, I won't go too much into that, but it's getting gloomy out there in New York. The Giants, Stable and Jones are pretty much on the hot seat. I can't see a world where they return next year. And then, who knows what's going on with the Jets? Their defense is bad and their offense is worse. So, and then the Florida. So let's go to the Florida football teams. This is the first time, Ross, this has ever happened. Florida, FBS, FCS, and NFL teams were a combined 0-11 on the same weekend. And only the Dolphins tonight can save it. But FBS, FAU, Florida, Miami, FSU, USF, and UCF all lost this weekend. And then in the FCS, FAMU, Bethune and Stetson also all lost. And then the NFL, the Jaguars and the Buccaneers also lost. So the Dolphins Dolphins need to save the state of Florida right now from an 0-12 full complete weekend. So those are my two losers: is New York football as well as Florida football over the weekend for really, really sucking.
Yeah, no, that's a great stat, Max. No doubt about it. That's bad. Really bad. A lot of pressure on the Dolphins trying to avoid an 0 for week in the state of Florida. Yeah. That's a proud football state in Florida, but it's not looking very good. My losers of the weekend, first and foremost, I think no doubt about it, was Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt a loser of the weekend for his comments after the Holy War. My gosh, what a game that was. 22-21, a field goal at the gun for BYU to beat their rivals in Utah, which I predicted Utah to win that game. I felt really good about it. I fell asleep feeling good about it. Only woke up to find out that they lost.
Yeah.
But Mark Harlan, I had the audio clipped up, but once again, because of my technical problems here, I'm not going to worry about it. But he really went after the officials hard right after the game. It was an emotional deal where I think he had just gone into the locker room and players were distraught and he felt bad and he came out and he got behind the mic first and went after the Big 12 officials, saying how he, when we joined the Big 12, we were proud to be here. Today, we are not. That resulted in a $40,000 fine. That was all emotion that Mark Harlan has to be an adult and learn that he can't get behind a mic and say that. You can think that, you cannot get out and say that. And the problem is that Mark Harlan was talking about a pass interference call that was called against Utah on the final offensive possession. BYU had to drive the field. They started inside their own 10 and had to drive the field. And there was an offensive pass interference call that extended the drive. Look, folks, or there was a holding, I think is what it's called. It was a holding. It was the right call. The officials did the right deal. That was the correct call. If that's what they're talking about, which I think most people think that's what it is, that was the right call. The officials got it right. You know, a lot of people love to throw the officials under the bus all the time. Look, they got that call right. Now they're getting yelled at by the coaches because of whatever reason you want to say, and the AD. That's not on the officials. They got the call right. It was a great game. Get off the field. That's the thing. Get off the field, Utah defense. You're a great defense. Get off the field when it matters most. You did it all night. You just couldn't do it when it mattered the most.
You know what's very telling to me about a lot of these kind of situations when it comes to complaining about the officials? You will rarely, if ever, see a coach or a player say this official and this call cost us the entire game. It's always the players, or the people, I should say, the people that are not actually involved in the game, whether they're not ever a player. They're always a coach, or not a coach, Jesus, a fan or an AD or someone around the team that's not actually involved in the team. That is always complaining about the refs. It's never the people that actually play the sport that are the ones saying these refs cost the game. So I feel like that should be a sign. Let's stop blaming the refs for losses. There's a lot more to a football game than a holding call. Even if it's at the end, there's a lot more to it than that call that led to that call, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So no doubt, Utah Athletic Director Mark Carlin, loser of the weekend, for what he had to say about the officials. And the bad part is he was wrong. He was even in the wrong. But
yeah.
Brett Yormark, commissioner for the Big 12, took care of that, fined him $40,000 Sunday. And Mark Harlan, I think, took that and said, yes, I screwed up, but it was not a good look. And my final one the weekend is the Chicago Bears. I don't know how I tell you right now, if you're the Chicago Bears on a Monday, I don't know what you do. That you had a good season kind of coming for you here. And once again, I go all the way back to that Hail Mary for the Commanders that you blew. And since then, you've lost 2 straight games, including a horrific loss at home to the measly Patriots yesterday, where the Bears' offense totaled 142 yards of offense. You're getting into a danger zone. You're getting into a danger zone where you're going to destroy your young quarterback if you don't get him the right coaching or get him in the right mindset. You're going to destroy your young quarterback in Caleb Williams, and sometimes it's hard to overcome that. So, like I said, I think it's a big point. I'm not calling for everybody's job per se, although it wouldn't shock me if we see Matt Eberflus gone here this week or later. I don't know. But they've got to find something to get Caleb Williams right. There's too many weapons around him for him to not have some sort of success. They got to do something offensively to get things right for Caleb Williams.
I don't know how Eberflus had a job to start the season. I mean, everyone knew he was terrible, and he was not good last year. And Justin Fields struggled with him, and I don't know. I never liked the whole idea of let's bring him back to try another rookie quarterback, because it didn't work last time. I think they should have brought in a new young head coach to match up with Caleb, but looks like they're going to have to try that again next year.
There you go. Weekend winners and losers here on a Monday morning. Okay, let's get to our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show with some leftovers next. This is the Morning Blitz.
Gifts to make Christmas merry and bright. Need something special for that grill master? Check out their top line of grills and griddles from Blackstone, Traeger, and Weber. Guaranteed to make their holiday sizzle. Stocking stuffers, they've got you covered with tools, gadgets, and must-haves for every DIYer in your life. And tackle winter head-on with their powerful Eco snowblowers, perfect for clearing the way this season. Plus, spruce up your home for the holidays with a fresh coat of Benjamin Moore paint, or get ready for the new year with a stunning remodel. Enjoy the holidays this year with Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, with locations in Goodland and Colby.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
The only way to start your day.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
With Ross Volkmer and the Morning Blitz.
All right, wrapping up a show here on a Monday, which it's been a little bit of a rocky one, to say the very least. But hopefully tomorrow will be better. If it's on a Tuesday and things will work better, we'll see. Apologize, but thank you to all those that have hung out there. Oh, I forgot to mention on the FP Bank text, and we did have another person chime in with the loser of the weekend. Our listener, Andy, texted in and said, loser of the weekend, Jerry Jones, built a stadium that blinds his players from catching touchdowns. Well,
he was off the shore. I was gonna add him this morning. I thought about it, but I didn't add him. But that is a very, very good one. And he was like at the end, he was like, well, we know where the sun is when we flip the coin. I was like, all right, Jerry. That's really, it really is enough from you, Jerry. I think everyone has had enough of Jerry Jones.
probably so, even Cowboy fans. But he's not. He's going to do that until he dies. He'll do that dying. He's not going to step down. He will do it till he dies. I guarantee.
Oh God,
I've described him before as that guy in the movie who's like looking for that gold. You know, his grandfather told about this gold at this spot, and he's looking for it and looking for it and looking for it. And he'll die digging a hole looking for that gold buried out there. It's just the way it's going to be. Real quick on the leftovers, I got to make a correction. So on the sports report this morning, I said that the Colby Community College volleyball team, their season was over because they lost in 3 sets to Barton at the Region 6 championship. I don't know why I didn't think about this, but I'm just an idiot. I'll just admit that. But anyway, of course, the boss, Chad Jones, who is married to the head coach, Kerry Jones, for CCC volleyball. There's still a great chance they're going to get an at-large bid in the NJCAA tournament. So they didn't win the region, but they can still get an at-large bid and go to Hutch. They have the best record and are the second highest ranked team that didn't get that didn't get a regional championship. And there are 4 at-large bids every year, so more than likely they're going to get one. So I was wrong. I admit that, and I apologize. CCC volleyball season will more than likely continue coming up at the tournament. Some other things here: CCC wrestling. Went 1-3 in the Loose Brock duels Friday. Then they had 3 guys placed at the Service Salute tourney all at Benedictine College. Fort Hays Tech Northwest men beat Trinidad State in a duel on Sunday, 48-6. Basketball, you had Colby Community College men and women both pick up easy wins over Kansas Wesleyan JV. Women winning 76-41, men winning 80-61. In Division I basketball, we talked about KU, but Kansas State, Brandon Hassan knocking down 6 threes. He was 7 of 10 from behind the arc, scored 22 points to lead Kansas State to a 77-64 win over Cleveland State on Saturday. Colorado edged that was probably the game of the week, one of the games of the week. In Colorado edging Northern Colorado 90-88 in double overtime. That gave head coach Tad Boyle his 300th win at Colorado. Congratulations to Coach Boyle. Nebraska held off Bethune-Cookman 63-58. I'm telling you, there's a lot of close games. It's amazing. You're watching these mid-majors, is what we would call them, really hang around with a lot of these bigger schools. North Florida, by the way, had 3 Division I wins in men's basketball because they're a new Division I program. They've had 3 Division I wins in their entire program's history. They're off to a 3-0 start with 3 Division I wins to begin this thing, and over good programs, Power 5 program, like your Georgia Tech. I think Miami was another one. It's amazing how well they've played here. I've got to mention Colorado football. They continue to roll. They beat Texas Tech, come from behind fashion, 41-27. That'll get your blood pumping for next weekend.
Yeah, and then another leftover, Bill Self tying Fog Allen.
That's right.
In the win mark.
True.
So that was awesome to see for him. He's been pretty much my savior for my entire life, Bill Self. He has done miracles for KU and for fans like myself. So shout out Bill Self.
There you go. There you go. That would be, let's see. I don't think I missed anything. I think that's on all of the leftovers. Okay, on to the walk-off.
A three-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off. His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
Saw this video on social media. So Army football took on North Texas on Saturday. Army won a very low-scoring game, 14-3 over North Texas on the road. To remain unbeaten, by the way, are the Black Knights of Army, which is an amazing story. There was a drive in the third quarter that was 21 plays long and took 13 minutes and 54 seconds off the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what you call beautiful football right there. Completely took a whole quarter away on one drive. 21 plays, 94 yards, 13:54. Salute to the Black Knights. Gorgeous. Thank you.
That's an entire quarter that they took up. Am I right?
A whole quarter that you took up? Pretty much, yes.
That's ridiculous.
Besides a minute 6, you took it all up.
My goodness, Army football. That's what they do. I know, Ross, you love that style. You love that style.
I'm an old man.
Well, is there a backstory behind why you love that style so much?
What is it? Just like what is that movie? Remember the Titans when he say, "I run sprint beer 3 ways, just like sugar, just like Novocaine. It always works."
Yeah,
it always works. I know. To me, it's just very decisive and it works really good. So I like that. By the way, real quickly, fall cleanup in Goodland has been moved from this Wednesday to Thursday. So for those who want to do the fall cleanup, move from Wednesday to Thursday. We're back again tomorrow to try, hopefully better. We'll see you on a Tuesday.
That's all you can do.